And a very happy day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess back with Think and Grow Rich and continuing with the subconscious mind. And this will be part 2. I'm just kind of curious, how do you feel right now? How do you feel right now? Do you feel productive? Do you feel certain? Do you feel faithful? When I say faithful, I mean within, not faithful in religion or anything like that. Whenever we talk about faith here, we're talking about the faith you have in yourself. Do you feel good about what you're doing, where you're going? Do you feel good about who you are becoming? See, all of these things are embedded in what we call the subconscious part of our being, and it's the feelings that we have. And this chapter being the subconscious, this is truly what Napoleon Hill has been asking us to control. He's given us instructions across the board on how to control the feelings. Remember, the feelings are responsible for the actions. So if I woke up this morning and I feel like shit, and I don't feel good, and I don't feel good about where I'm going or what I'm doing, I don't feel good, then what kind of action would I take today? I mean, would it be intelligent action, or would it just be action? You see, I believe people take action every day. The question is that action intelligent, moving them in the direction that they want to go? I question myself on that. And there's no possible way intelligent action can be in play if we have a really negative feeling in the subconscious part of our being. Remember, feelings are responsible for the actions that we take. Now, continuing in the chapter, Napoleon says that we cannot entirely control the subconscious mind. That means we're picking up thoughts and frequencies of vibrations from outside of us. In any environment that you find yourself in, you're picking up vibrations of thought from that environment. You know, so if somebody is full of fear, that fear will jump from them onto you. That sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But it's true. Pay attention in the next conversations that you're in. Pay real close attention to the feelings that are going on in those conversations. Napoleon, he says this: all thought impulses intended for transmutation into their physical equivalent. Now we know what transmutation means. Voluntary planted in the subconscious part of the mind. So we're voluntarily putting in the subconscious part of our mind anything that we wish to manifest. That's what you and I are engaged in doing. Chapter 2, the 6 steps, right? Excuse me. It says it must pass through the imagination and be mixed with faith. See, if we don't mix it with faith, according to what we've learned here, then it automatically is being mixed with fear. Now, fear can be a great motivator. Fear can be your friend. More on that in a couple of chapters. But more often than not, fear is a debilitator. It's a paralyzer. It stops the reasoning faculty of the mind from functioning. And we have this fearful feeling about what? Some people are afraid to let go of this thing they call security at their job or some other endeavor they may be a part of, when that particular endeavor has not supplied them with the necessary finances or the necessary confidence. Why would we hold on to something like that? We do it all the time, ladies and gentlemen. It's called a comfort zone. I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone even though I'm verily not very comfortable at all. He says, the mixing of faith with the plan or purpose intended for submission to the subconscious mind may be done only through the imagination. So we use our imagination to create the image of what we desire. We use our imagination to create the image of who we wish to become. Now, I'm not saying that any of us aren't good people. That's not what I'm saying. I feel I'm a good people. I'm a good people. That's good, huh? I feel I'm a good person. But I want to grow. I want to be more than I am now. Not that I don't do good things. Not that we don't, have good things going on in our lives. We just want to continue to grow. That doesn't mean I'm dissatisfied. It doesn't mean I'm ungrateful or any of those things. I'm extremely grateful for everything we have. I'm sure you are as well. But my bet is you would like to be more, do more, and have more. And if that weren't the case, my bet is you probably wouldn't be here listening to this. Excuse me, he says, from these statements you'll readily observe that voluntary use of the subconscious mind calls for coordination and application of these principles. He talks about this young lady named Ella Wheeler Wilcox and how she gave evidence of her understanding of the power of the subconscious mind when she wrote this little poem. And it says, you can never tell what a thought will do in bringing you hate or love. For thoughts are things, and their airy wings are swifter than a carrier dove. They follow the law of the universe. Each thing creates its kind. And they speed over the track to bring you back whatever went out from your mind. See, Mrs. Wilcox understood the truth that thoughts which go out from one's mind also embed themselves deeply in the subconscious mind. So whatever thought you're sending out about another person, whether positive or negative, doesn't matter. It's embedding itself inside of you. That's why it is so absolutely important, and really it's critically important, that we think of others as we wish to be thought about. We all know the golden rule. The greatest success philosophy that's ever been placed upon this planet. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But let's take that one step deeper, if we may. Let's think of others as we wish to be thought about. And let's speak of others the way we wish to be spoken about. That takes it to a whole nother level, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe if you'll adopt that philosophy, don't just do unto others, think unto others and speak unto others the way you wish to be spoken of. I believe that will make a massive change, maybe not overnight, but it'll make a change. Now, the subconscious mind is more susceptible to influences by impulses of thought mixed with feeling or emotion than by those originating solely in the reasoning portion of the mind. The reasoning portion of the mind doesn't get stuff done. That's all the analytic, all the logic. There's no emotion. Okay? He says this then. There is much evidence, in fact, to support the theory that only emotionalized thoughts have any action influence upon them. Only emotionalized thoughts have any action. So you can sit around thinking of all the wealth you want to create, but if you don't put any emotion into it, you don't put any feeling into it, there's no action influence on the subconscious part of our being. And make no mistake, the feeling part of our being is the subconscious, and that is responsible for the actions that we take. So if we're not taking intelligent action, I have to ask, are we engaged in intelligent thought? And my bet is not. So if we're just taking action, there's no intelligence. If we're just allowing thoughts to take place and we're not in control of them, then it's not accurate thinking. It's just thinking. Everybody thinks. The question, is it accurate thinking? Everybody takes action. The question, is it intelligent action? The subconscious part of our being is that action center, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. The positives. This is the really important part here in this chapter, in my opinion. The positives must be injected through the principle of autosuggestion into thought impulses which an individual wishes to pass on to the subconscious mind. In other words, if you don't on purpose, by design, inject positive emotion into your thought impulses, the negatives inject themselves automatically. They do it automatically. You don't have to give any effort to it. You don't have to want to do it. You don't have to wonder if it's happening or not. It is happening. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, just read any article. Somewhere around 80 to 90% of everything that you and I are around on a daily basis is negative. It's negative. Well, that suggests that obviously if we don't make an attempt to put positive emotion with our thoughts, the negatives from the outside inject themselves into our thoughts. That's why it's so easy to go negative. That's why they say misery loves company. Now, 7 positive major emotions: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope. Desire. What do you want? Faith. Do you have faith in your ability? Love. The expression of love. sex, the emotion of sex, the emotion, not just the physical act of. Enthusiasm. Do you feel enthused? The emotion of romance and the emotion of hope. By the way, where does the emotion of hope live? In the past or in the future? In the future. Well, if we haven't taken the time to create an image of what the future looks like, how hopeful are we that we will create the future we want? See how simple this is? Ladies and gentlemen, this is so simple. I'm not saying I'm perfect at all of the implementation of this book. That's not at all the message I wish to convey. I'm here doing this because I'm still learning. I want to learn more about this. I want to be better at the implementation of this. Yeah, a lot better. Now, the negative emotions, and these are the ones that will inject themselves automatically. You don't have to make any effort at all to do so. They'll do it on their own. Fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, and anger. Oh, you never get angry about anything, do you? We all get angry, and it's such a silly emotion. Most of the stuff that you and I get angry about, think about this for a minute, we have no control over. Or we get angry about something that we did or didn't do that's in the past, and we can't do anything about it. So, excuse me, will somebody there please help me out in the comments below right after you hit the subscribe button? What good is it then to go to anger? What possible benefit could come from you and I being angry about anything? What possible good could come from you and I developing hatred for anything? Why don't we transmute that energy of hatred, transmute it into drive, somehow drive and desire. So we take that energy, we transmute it, and we put it to a constructive, productive outlet. Transmutation, the art of transmutation, that's all it is. Positive and negative emotions, this is a really cool part, and you'll go, yeah. You'll absolutely agree with everything he says here. Positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time. One or the other must dominate. One or the other must dominate. He says it is your responsibility to make sure the positive emotions constitute the dominating influence of your mind. It's our responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, not somebody else. We can't look at the outside. You know what? They make me so mad. No, you allowed yourself to be made mad. We can't allow somebody else to make us happy. That's not where happiness comes from. He says here, the law of habit will come to your aid. Form the habit of applying and using the positive emotions. Form the habit of applying and using the positive emotions. Once again, we said this in an earlier video. Ladies and gentlemen, you can stub your toe on the way to the bathroom first thing out of bed in the morning. But you don't have to engage in negative emotions because that happened. Once again, it's not a joyful experience. Your toes bleeding all over the place, your toenails ripped halfway off, it hurts. It's not a joyful experience. However, that one happening doesn't have to ruin your day, man. It's a moment. Fix the toe, jump in the shower, take care of your morning business, get on with the day. Be the person you want to be, regardless of whether or not that toe is throbbing. In other words, you decide to be that person. You decide to be happy. We went through the chapter on decision. Pretty powerful chapter. He says, only by following these instructions literally and continuously can you gain control over the subconscious mind. The presence of a single negative in the conscious mind, a single negative, is sufficient to destroy all chances of constructive aid from your subconscious mind. So, if you're not getting where you want to be, if you're not becoming who you want to become, if you're not acquiring all that you want to acquire, check on that right there. Check. The presence of a single negative in the conscious mind. I took my glasses off, I had to find that for a minute. The single negative in the conscious mind is sufficient to destroy all chances of constructive aid from the subconscious. He goes on and talks about how if you're an observing person, you must have noticed that most people resort to prayer only after everything else has failed. Or they pray a ritual of meaningless words. Full of fear, not full of faith. Now, when we talk about prayer, when Napoleon talks about prayer in his book, he's not going to religion, he's not going into the churches. That's not what he's doing. Study the book and you'll understand that completely. But anytime that you read your 6 steps, that's a form of prayer. It's not hard, it's pretty simple. So I pray all the time. I didn't realize I prayed all the time because with my upbringing, I related prayer right back to religion. And I didn't want to be associated with any particular religion. I'm a very spiritual person, very, very spiritual. I'm not very religious at all. I don't know if some of you are like that or not, but that's who I am. He says, if you pray for a thing but have fear as you pray that you may not receive it, or that your prayer will not be acted upon by infinite intelligence, your prayer will have been in vain. And I'll say this, that prayer gets answered just as the other prayers do, by nothing happening, because of the frequency of vibration and where your subconscious mind was, where you really were at the time of the prayer was full of fear that it would not happen, and that prayer got answered. I believe all prayers get answered, all of them. All of them. Depending upon the frequency of vibration that you're in while you make the prayer. Where are you? How are you feeling? And if you're asking for more money, mistake. There's plenty of money on the planet. How about if we ask for this, more wisdom with which to use the benefits of this life that have been given or bestowed upon us? It's not hard to understand, really. Prayer does sometimes result in the realization of that for which one prays. I, once again, through my own study, prayer does always result in the realization of the frequency of vibration that you're in while you pray. So once again, if you're full of fear that it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. If you're full of faith that it will happen and you continue with that faith, you don't bounce all over the place. Remember, spasmodic or occasional effort will be of no value to you. Then that prayer will be answered. There's no question about it. It will be answered. So when we go to prayer, make sure we go there full of faith. Make sure we go there full of a positive frequency of vibration. We know that it can happen. We may not know how it can happen, whatever it may be. We may not know that. We may not know the method with which it can come to fruition. We may not know any of this. Remember, Henry Ford, most of you can relate to the Ford Motor Company. He began with nothing. Absolutely nothing. No money, no factory, no mastermind group, no nothing. But he did have this one thing. He had faith in his own ability to pull it off. And he continued to develop that faith in his own ability to pull it off, even when he went through the dark valleys, even when the pitfalls, even when the speed bumps showed up, even when he got knocked off a track. He continued to have faith in himself. He continued to hold on to the frequency of vibration in the subconscious part of his being that absolutely knew that he was going to pull it off. He was going to win. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I have that inside of us. If we will let it out, let it express itself, it's in there. Unfortunately for a lot of us, including myself, it's been buried under layers and layers and layers and layers of programming, layers of conditioning, layers of BS, of all of that garbage cast upon us that we should live our lives the way somebody else thinks we should live our lives. Think about it. When you grew up, you had to go to a certain church. You had to go to a certain school. You had no choice but to live your life the way they wanted you to live your life. Unfortunate for many people, they're still living their life that way today, and that program is obsolete. It doesn't work anymore. So, this whole book is about reconditioning and reprogramming this thing called the mind. Hopefully, my greatest desire, truly one of my greatest desires, is that you've taken this book, you've absolutely welcomed it, and you're going to continue to study the material so you can gain all of the benefits and live life the way you truly want to live life instead of the way you think you have to live life based on the conditioning that you've gone through. With that being said, Joe, I want to say thank you, my friend. Without you, we wouldn't be here. We just wrapped up another chapter of this book, another very, very important chapter, and it's all because of you, my friend. Absolutely. So thank you. As always, ladies and gentlemen, one of our strongest desires is that this day be the very best day you have ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. Tomorrow isn't here, but today we can do something. Make a decision to allow this day to be the best. Tonight, when you put your head on a pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Remember, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day today.